It's a missive from Mark Zuckerberg to me. Right, arrived this morning with an offer of a huge, huge amount of money. And the answer is, fuck you. Fuck you. No fucking way. I will not be a party to this bullshit, Zuckerberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rebellious Votes. This is Hernandez. Hopefully everyone is doing great. Let's start off with a quote from a video. We are facing World War III. It no longer takes place in the skies. The war is in your blood, in your heart, your words, your thoughts, but above all, in your will. And another quote, for these times of tyranny, may it never be said of me that I was silent in the face of fear, and in doing so, passed the battle on to my children. So the big pharma propaganda continues to be pushed. They are so desperate they have taken tips from criminals and undesirable individuals to further their agenda or fulfill it. For instance, not that long ago, they had all these ice cream trucks in Canada by the schools, all to lure children, free ice cream in exchange for the pharmaceutical product, and no parental consent required.
This is like the ultimate kidnapper script, right, from the 90s. I mean, a white van comes around.
A van parked in a residential neighborhood with a sign on it reading, "Free candy inside."
It raised serious concerns with them that a child predator could be targeting kids on the street.
And says, "Hey kid, let me give you some free candy." And then the kid comes in and boom, they shut the door and make sure that the parents aren't around to see it.
The guy kidnapped us 12 hours ago. He didn't feed us no candy, nothing, bro.
Hey, stop!
Hey, shut up, brother. You said he's gonna get candy, motherfucker.
Are you kidding me?
Here in the States, a lot of people's livelihoods are being put on the chopping block if they decide not to fold. And also, you have the door-to-door peddlers or informants or strike forces, as Jen Psaki mentioned.
Work with communities where there's lower vaccination rates. That's one of the reasons we initiated these strike forces to go into communities.
There was an article in Liberty News called "Government Document Instructs Strike Force Teams How to Clear Buildings, Violate Trespass Laws, and Flag Anti-Vaxxers for Forced Quarantine." So not so long ago in Illinois, a couple documents were put out. Basically, helpful hints, instructions, and a script for these big pharma peddlers and informants. Alright, so this is the form that the Liberty News article is talking about. It's regarding Community Health Ambassador Outreach Door Knocking Project to increase covaids roll up the sleeve acceptance. And it starts very nice saying, tell people you're a volunteer. Your job is to equip the person at the door with information and resources that they need to make an informed decision about their health. You're not trying to convince anyone to do something they don't want to do. However, you are out here knocking on doors, telling people about something they probably don't want to hear. It also mentions that basically ignore soliciting signs as they do not apply because they are not seeking an order of any goods or services. But they are talking about a product from Big Pharma that they're trying to convince you to go out and take, and give you all this information and where you can sign up or where they can sign you up with your intimidated consent that they have arrived at your door. Well, anyway, the document does say that they must respect no trespassing signs. Those do apply. And if someone says to leave, you gotta obey. So get out those no trespassing signs if you don't want these peddlers at your door. Or if they see you and spot you, tell them you are not welcome, and they will and must leave. So at the beginning of the form, it does say to state that one is a volunteer. However, Then all of a sudden here it says, make clear up front that the building has let you in and that you're from the health department. So that's why the article is mentioning that these people are impersonating, because for one, they're volunteers, but then they're allowed to say, oh yeah, I'm from the health department. The article also mentions something about how they're told to clear the building kind of military style. On page 3, it says, after you enter the building, orient yourself. So you systematically proceed from floor to floor, covering each wing. Utilize the tally sheet to keep count of those interested in rolling up the sleeve, those who refuse, and those with further questions. And here is the tally sheet right here. Look at that. So they are gathering some information, and who knows where this information will go to, and what the information will be used for. So it's better not to get into conversation with these farm peddlers if you want nothing to do with them. The second form has talking points for common questions from community members. Here's where they state, it's all good, it's all safe. Look at these side effects, they're very minor. Nothing happens, nothing out of the ordinary. However, as the article mentions, are they lying to the public and falsely claiming it's all good by withholding information about real informed consent? Yeah, they're definitely promoting this thing hard. California and New York, they want their state employees and other employees experimented on, and that it be a mandated thing. And if the employees decide not to fold, they'll be scammed with the PCR tests on a weekly basis with no symptoms or anything, just for the hell of it. And at this point, with this crap, I see an uptick in cases, because those that are tested, the PCR will be ran at the 40 cycle threshold, versus those that are vaxxed, that the maximum is 28 cycle threshold. So I don't know, I just look at it and hear about it and I'm like, what a bunch of crap. Hopefully people don't fold, and a lot of people get creative and say no to this stupidity. It wasn't just those states, it was some corporations as well that decided to take a stand on this crap and coerce their employees into getting this pharmaceutical product. Communist and tyrannical corporations like Google, Facebook, Disney, and others. And what a shame it is, really. However, I do have to say that I wasn't surprised at all, because you see, the big dogs, they came out before these small-time crooks. The people that I'm talking about are the 1%ers, the ones that own the world and pretty much anything that you can think about or think of. They even own all the pharmaceutical companies that are trying to push all this crap on humanity. And these are two corporations, two giants that you may have never heard about at all. The first is BlackRock, and the second, the Vanguard Group. They kind of remind me of this Mexican corrido, this one Mexican drug lord song called The Boss of Bosses by the Tigres del Norte, which part of the song says, my name and photograph will never be in the papers because the journalists love me, and if not, they lose my friendship. Let me show you why they have the influence that they do, and why these other clowns follow suit on whatever they say and do. Ladies and gentlemen, so we start our journey here at Yahoo Finance. This is a good tool to find out some stuff and maybe wake up to the fact that we've been caged in, that a few corporations or a number of people have managed to monopolize in just about every single industry, and they own pretty much everything. And if you want to see an extended version of what I'm talking about, go to LouRockwell.com. There's a great video right here. Who runs the world? BlackRock and Vanguard. It's a very interesting video, 45 minutes, but you can speed it up and watch it in half the time. Anyways, let's get started. So I talked about the pharmaceutical companies, right? Pushing all this crap. Well, here's Pfizer. If we put in Pfizer here and go to holders, the first two holders of the majority of the stock is the Vanguard Group and BlackRock. If we go to Moderna, BlackRock, Vanguard, there's also other companies like Bailey Gifford and Company, and I'm pretty sure if one looked into it, one would see
that it's actually the same players from some of the other companies, or BlackRock or Vanguard. Well, anyway, Johnson & Johnson. Here it is. Vanguard Group and BlackRock. If we go to AstraZeneca, we have T. Rowe and BlackRock down here. Here's an interesting thing though. If we go to T. Rowe, the Vanguard Group and BlackRock. And remember, for some time, people were boycotting Coca-Cola. Well, actually, they're not even competing. The first one is Berkshire, the Vanguard Group, and then BlackRock. However, if we look at Berkshire right here, we have the Vanguard Group and BlackRock. Now, let's go to Pepsi. The Vanguard Group and BlackRock. Isn't that something? And how about big tech, those tyrants? The Vanguard Group and BlackRock. If we go to Apple, the Vanguard Group and BlackRock. You're going to see a constant theme if you look into it a little more. Put in some grocery stores, put in some players within the food chain, or just anything. And look who comes up. And it's crazy that actually this group right here, the Vanguard Group, is privately held. Isn't that something?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So all the companies and corporations that you thought were owned by different players aren't. And you could clearly see that the system is rigged.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that we got on the subject of big tech, let's talk about big tech and watch a small clip from the Corbett report about who may be reading your text messages.
Allied groups are planning to work with SMS carriers to dispel misinformation that is sent over text messages. James, I thought they weren't reading our text messages.
Yeah, funny stuff. Now it's social media and text messages? Who is doing this? What kind of algorithmic bot do they have set up to scan everyone's text messages for false information and then what? Correct them? Stop you from sending them? Uh-oh, it looks like you're sending a link to the evil Corbett report, evil media monarchy. Oh, we better come in and fact check that. This is insanity, but it is perfectly predictable insanity. It is the next level of the censorship. It just keeps ratcheting up. Social media and text messages. Social media and text messages and phone calls. Social media and text messages and phone calls and personal private communications on the street that we monitored with our street-light microphones that we've secretly embedded in all over the country when you weren't looking, blah, blah, blah. It's coming. They're ratcheting it up every time. And what do you bet in the event of the next major cyber pandemic event, the scare, where they have to, we have to reconfigure the whole internet. What do you bet they're going to say? They're going to slip in some language about how they're going to work at the device level to censor communications in every sense, not just social media. This is not just about social media. It is about all your communications.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a time that one must stand strong and do what one must to fight tyranny, to fight for freedom. Because otherwise, if we start giving up our freedom, one thing leads to another. And in a domino effect, we lose. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, study, read, and draw your own conclusion. Thank you. We'll see you next time.